It's been that kind of morning, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning, Anthony and Stephanie. How are you on this fine Thursday morning? Apparently, it's 4 a.m. where Stephanie is. I'm still not even sure how far west. Are you in the Hawaiian time zone, Stephanie? Is that how you get so far west?
I'm in Japan.
Japan.
I'm in Japan most of the time.
I thought you were moving to Sweden because the flag's a plus. That's Stephanie's joke. She told it earlier this week. I thought it was really bad, but it did not left my head.
Stephanie and Anthony, that brain surgery I recently had didn't go as well as I thought it was going to go. The lobotomy stuff didn't really go. I've got half a mind to sue them.
That's both of those are going to leave a really bad taste in my. It's like
never heard that one before.
Bad.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It is great to see you both. We do not have a guest today. It is the three of us, and I couldn't be more excited to be talking about what I think is actually a pretty important topic. I know you do too, Stephanie and Anthony. You feel like this might be our best topic that we've had ever on this show, ever. All of our 100 and now 15 episodes, this topic. It's going to be the best, I think.
Chris, can you get to it?
Sure. Oh, actually, do you want
to? Let's actually go.
No, I just thought we'd hype it a little bit more. Talk about
nobody cares.
All right. Why do 73% of B2C sales strategies fail? Shocking stat, 73% lose customers due to aggressive sales tactics. Henry Ford once said, we got a lot of Henry Ford things this week. Henry Ford once said, if I'd asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Most B2C sales strategies are still selling horses today. On How to Founder with my lovely co-hosts, we're going to be talking about B2C sales strategy. I'm your host, Mr. Christopher Franks. With me is my co-host, Mr. Anthony Franco. Anthony, how are you today?
I have a little bit of brain fog. I'm struggling a little bit today. How are you, Chris?
I don't know what a brain frog is, but I'm hopefully
brain fog. Fog. Yes.
Stephanie, how are you today? It is great to see you. You're looking lovely and spry as always.
Stephanie?
Spry.
This is going great so far this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, that is.
What do you call a sad cup of coffee?
I don't know. What do you call a sad cup of coffee?
Depresso.
Hey, how do you keep a couple knuckleheads in suspense? Oh my goodness. This is terrible. Terrible opening.
Great. Look, Russell's tuning in from the Philippines, and
he's regretting his life choices today.
Right. He is expecting doing some stuff about actual B2C sales strategy, and we're just telling dad jokes, which is pretty much what we do on this show. Anyway.
Good morning, Russell.
It is great to see you. All right, so let's get to it. B2C sales strategy. All of us have done some sort of B2C in the past. What does this matter? Why do we need to understand this? What is it important for us to get our heads wrapped around when we're considering selling directly to consumer? What are those kind of first principles, Anthony?
I have like B2C sales strategies to me have similar like stages of grief. Like you go through you go through these phases where you think something's going to work, or you think you finally hit it, and then it doesn't work anymore, or your assumptions were proven completely wrong. And the first thing, every founder makes this, you're gonna say you're not gonna make it if you're trying to get into B2C, and you're gonna do it where you get so focused on the product and building the perfect product, and then launch it and expect, right? You just expect, it's all about how good the product is. And that couldn't be more further from the truth. And then you get into, all right, a lot of founders quit there. They just think, oh, well, they're caught in the grind of trying and then they get caught in the grind of I just need to make the product just a little bit better. I just need to make the product a little bit better. We've talked about this a lot on this podcast. And then you get into, hopefully you get into, all right, maybe I should run an ad. And
let's give my money to Zuckerberg. That's a great idea.
And that because Facebook is so smart, your first few ads do really well. So it's kind of like you're a drug addict and the first hit is free, right? So they get you hooked by making your first ad perform well. And then it's a gluttony of diminishing returns after that. And then you read some stupid podcast or listen to somebody like us, and they say it's all about content. You just got to you got to get out there, and you got to get your face out there, and that is like, now you have to, not only do you have to sell your product, now you also have to sell the podcast.
Well, Stephanie, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty sad after Anthony's answer.
So I don't think it's about content at all. I think that's a...
Stephanie, you have a long delay.
Yeah.
I just realized there's like this massive, so pretend that I've stopped talking now and start talking.
Yes.
Go.
This is terrific.
There's I've got a delay here for sure.
Well, Stephanie,
you guys go ahead. I'm gonna go and come back.
Come back.
Okay, go and come back.
All right. So with this, Anthony, we've started by depressing the hell out of everybody and saying that it's really hard. So the first thing is that it is really hard, right? And I think that's one of the things that we need to explain is that as you start this journey, you're understanding that it's not easy. Consumers, their tastes, their change constantly. Trying to understand their wants, their needs, their desires, they change, and how you talk to them is a constantly changing thing, right? Stephanie, you with us? How long is our delay? I mean, the internet is pretty slow in Canada.
Still a delay. So yeah. So Chris, I mean, you've done this too. You've done B2C sales quite a bit, and it's kind of like you go through this turmoil, these ups and downs of growth hacking, where you hear something works and you try it and it doesn't, and then to compound it, the next stage that I was getting to was, oh, now I need to hire an agency because they have fancy slide decks and can tell you they can get you more clicks by spending more money on ads.
Yeah.
And it's this vicious cycle. So I Chris, I would love to hear from you. Given all the experience you have now, where would you start? So we launch a really interesting, slightly novel brand that makes bottled water. Where do you start?
This is my first counterintuitive point that I would say. When I first started in the world of growth hacking and then growth marketing as it came along, I used to not believe in the power of brand. And I've completely shifted my thought around that, which is, and this is the world that you live in, Anthony. You love branding, you love logos, you love design, all those sorts of things, which is, I think that the first thing that you need to do is be somehow memorable and different in the marketplace. So bottled water being one of the most boring, absolute non-differentiated products in the world. How the hell did the guys at, is it Death Water, right?
Liquid Death.
Liquid Death, those guys were brilliant. They were so smart. All they did was build a differentiated brand in a marketplace of absolute boring, silly, just absolutely non-differentiated brands.
Yeah,
And
and I think that's really, I think you're right. I think the way where you start is before you build a product, you pick a market.
Yeah. And so I think that that's probably the fundamentals. And so I don't think that anything about the work that I done for 25 years has changed. I think that the way we do that work has changed. But the fundamentals is you always start with who. You have to answer that question. If your answer is everybody in the United States, that is not a good, solid B2C strategy. You have to start with a very narrow target of people and decide that that's the group of people that you want to go out and target.
Do you know who Liquid Death's target was?
I think was it people that didn't like to drink bottled water. It was like young men.
It was men who thought it was not manly to drink water.
Yeah. And so, but they immediately went and built a brilliant brand around heavy metal. Like they produced what is, I've been told, is a respectable heavy metal album. All that they went out and found these artists to come in and play on their own album. I thought it was incredible. That's a differentiated brand. Holy cow, we have Stephanie back. I mean, I know we're slow, Stephanie. How slow are we?
Still a delay. Still a delay.
It is hard being in Canada. I know, because we just put that internet tariff on y'all, you know, that web tariff.
Emotional, damn it.
So, and Stephanie, we will all going to cue you in 5 seconds. Anthony, it's always.
You can hold up
If you think I'm better
cards.
looking than Chris, say nothing.
I'm gonna leave again.
All right.
Okay, I feel like we've caught up now. I feel like this issue's all done. All of my emotional issues are done.
I'm so glad.
And we can
I'm
just
so
move.
happy
We
for
could just
you.
move on from here.
Back together. Okay. So we started with
Have you
this
said
idea.
anything of value while I was gone?
Absolutely not.
You-
We've been relying on you to come back to say something smart about this. No, the place
I
where we
understand.
started is about starting with who, and then creating some sort of a differentiated brand. And I think that that's something. It's so scary for founders, Stephanie, because when we do this, we want to behave like big companies. We want to start thinking and acting like big companies. And so as founders, we have this kind of inherent advantage of being funny or cheeky or more aggressive with our branding, but we don't take advantage of it, and we brand in kind of conservative and boring ways. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, I think that's actually part of the problem is that you get founders who start and they're like, it's like those people who have a one-person consulting company and they're like, I'm the president and CEO of my one-person consulting company. It's like, no, you're not, right? So these small businesses that start and try to act like big businesses, I think they're doing themselves a disservice because people buy based on emotion, right? They buy on how you make them feel. And if you make there's a whole demographic of people who want to be aligned with, the early adopters. They want to be the people who are part of something new, that are like on the ground floor with this up and coming. I think you take advantage of that as a startup. I think you say, hey, we're new here. Like, I don't think it's about content at all. I think it's actually about showing up. I just said about. Huh.
We were not going to make fun of you much.
It's the process. It's It's about showing up exactly authentically as who you are. And the big problem with B2C marketing right now is that there's diminishing trust, right? So that's part of saturation. That's also part of consumers becoming more savvy. That's also the effect of, economic circumstances making people a little bit more discerning. And so all those things combined means that you have to you want more dad jokes?
I was gonna leave that one alone. That is
Yeah,
great.
no, I like it. We will stop for dad jokes. Do you know why the Invisible Man turned down the job offer? He just couldn't see himself doing it.
So, so bad. Such a groaner.
Say no to drugs, friends. But if you're talking to drugs, you probably already said yes.
There.
Okay. Back to trust. Back to trust, right? So trust is such a huge thing. And when you are authentic about who you are and where you are in your journey, imagine seeing an ad from, a business that's like, we've sold millions and millions and everybody wants our thing, versus an ad that says, hey, anybody out there? Like, hey, we just got started and we're kind of effing things up right now. Want to join us? I think the people who buy from new like, you have to speak to that market. You have to speak to those early adopters. You have to speak, like, don't try and go and get cross the chasm before you even get started. Go and find your most obvious audience first, bring them in,
I
and
think
then
that's
build on
I
that.
think you
Build the
nailed the
social
trap.
proof around those folks who are excited.
The trap that you just nailed,
Yeah.
Stephanie, is don't cross the chasm before you get started. Don't try to cross. And Chris, describe this chasm for the audience. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's for me, it's this idea of scaling, which is, famously, the guy from Y Combinator. I just blanked on his name, but he says do things that don't scale early on. It's like you have to do.
Jeffrey.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's do things that don't scale. The idea is that we tend to, as startup founders, we want to be like, well, look, we want everything to be systemized to be scalable, and so we spend a lot of time trying to build scalable systems, and then our business fails. It's like, well, it's good that it's scalable. It just ended up not actually making any money, and so
Guilty. I've been guilty of that for sure.
Yeah. I think
And the truth is like, get your first when customer, like when entrepreneurs, this common thing, like entrepreneurs are saying, I'm going to go hire a salesperson. It's like, no. Go get your first sale.
right.
You go sell, you go do it. And like, I don't like it. Yeah. That's why you need to do it, because you're going to get fooled by a salesperson who's better at selling you than selling your customer.
Right. It turns out they could sell you on a job. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I think, but Stephanie, I think, hit on the second principle that I think is so critically important in B2C sales, and today is more important than ever, which is trust and credibility. And trust and credibility is a saying that we've had in the growth marketing world and growth hacking world for a really, really long time, but it's never been more important than it is now, because AI is so freaking good. It's great. Anthony's not even real. He's just an AI bot.
You think if I was a bot, I'd look like this? I would have changed this a little bit.
Well, Stephanie and I created it just to make ourselves look slightly better. It's being authentic and being real and being trustworthy is so incredibly important. You have to have some sort of authenticity, and authenticity now wins. And Stephanie, you just said it dead on, which is, in a world whereby everything can be generated with AI in 15 minutes. You can spin up a logo, you can spin up a brand, you can spin up a website. The ability to have somebody actually trust you in a message, like you just said, hey, we're starting this thing. We're taking a shot here. We quit our day jobs. We want to go and build this thing. Anybody interested in coming with us on this ride, I think can be incredibly powerful. Anthony, trust and credibility. How do you earn trust and credibility in 2025 in the world of AI, in the world of you can spin up a website in 15 minutes? How do you generate trust and credibility?
Yeah, it's hard. So one of the things that seasoned marketers will tell you, seasoned successful marketers will tell you, is that the more polished like a video is, the poorer it will perform.
That is why we are so powerful on this show.
Authentic.
Exactly. So they talk about authenticity and trust. And look, there's certain circumstances when you're doing B2C. Like if you trying to do B2C and you're a wealth advisor, authenticity may not be the right path for you. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to do and I might lose your money, but let's try this anyway. Like that's not going to work, right? You're my first customer.
I disagree.
You think so?
I disagree. Now, would I be authentic about saying I don't know what the F I'm doing? Maybe not. But if you did show up and you were, I just think there's room for marketing in very connective ways, even in traditional industries. And you're starting to see some of that happen. But let's turn our attention to the phenomenon of influencers and content creators that aren't even doing it to sell anything, but they get so much traction because, and for doing what? For doing nothing. Like this appetite for consuming something that is not polished is just growing and growing and growing. And I think we talked the other day about how all the stuff kind of like the same things are still happening and just repeating themselves. Do you guys remember when the first crowdfunding platforms came out? And
Yes.
do you remember the potato salad guy?
No.
I totally remember the potato salad guy. Great story. Tell it.
So yeah, so some guy on not Craigslist, some guy on one of the crowdfunding platforms
Indiegogo,
posted
Kickstarter, one of those.
It's posted and said, pay me $5 and I will make a potato salad because I don't know how to cook. Something like, I think that was it. Something like that. He made like 7 figures.
Yeah.
Something like that.
People gave him a ton of money and
because it was
just
$5.
Yeah.
Right. It was $5 for me to pay. And I was entertaining, right? People will pay for entertainment. And everybody was like, oh, you should be donating that, blah, blah. Why? He did exactly what an early influencer does. He said, I'm going to entertain you. And this got traction. And he made over like $1 million. That was just free money. And all he had to do was make a potato salad, right? Like it was this, but he had written it in such a way that it was so engaging and it was so funny and it was like a narrative. So if someone like that can get that kind of money just from something like that, that's what people crave. They crave something disruptive, they crave something different. And all these early stage bro founders will be like, I'm gonna buy ads. They better buy ads for something that's different, because like polished, shiny, I would argue is just not your first strategy. It just doesn't make sense. You got to be disruptive. You've got to do something a little bit different to get that kind of attention.
I like how many, like there's so many case studies and startups that have thought some things were going to give them trust and authority, and it was completely misplaced. The example that comes to my head right now is friend.ai or friend.com, where they're an
That's
AI
my boyfriend,
company,
isn't it?
Yeah,
is that where I got my boyfriend?
It's well, they're launching this device that's a necklace that's an always on AI, right? And they raised they raised $2 million, close to $2 million, and spend 1.8 of their original spend or their original VC cash on the domain. And then they spend the last $100,000 on the intro video. And
great. Yeah. Money well spent there.
Now they're who knows if they're going to be successful, but I think it's like spent. The weird thing is the product I would never buy. It feels very dystopian and very awkward. so it's very bizarre to think that founder was like, the domain is everything. It's literally, I'm going to put a $2 million bet on the domain, and if I had $2 million to blow, I'd put $2 million and short that company.
I don't think you can short VC companies, unfortunately, Anthony. But
Yeah.
so if we go to that second principle, so the first principle is really starting with who. The second principle is figuring out a way to establish trust and credibility. And I think that what we're landing on here is the way that you establish trust and credibility is being authentic in 2025. Also, Anthony, Stephanie brought up a good point. To establish trust and credibility, you need to be entertaining. Could you write that down for our podcast? Just be entertaining.
Yeah.
Can we go back to the friend thing for a second?
Yeah.
Do you guys know where I could find someone to hang out with and enjoy some time together and share some experiences? Just asking for a friend.
No, 'cause I really don't.
Asking
Yeah.
for it.
Very, yeah. Don't know where to go.
Thanks for leaving us nowhere to go here, Steph.
Yeah, no, I don't, Stephanie. Where could maybe the park? I don't know. What would you? Yeah. No.
Awkward.
All right. So I want to get to tactics. And so if we're starting with this idea of we have to figure out your who, building a brand that's authentic, trying to establish trust and credibility, and doing that in real ways, that is easy for us to say. It is hard to do in actual practice. And this gets back to a little bit of the conflict I think that we just already had, which is, Stephanie, you said it's not about content. Anthony, you kind of jokingly said it is. I think it kind of is. As the founder and the founder team, how else do you do that? How else do you establish trust and credibility? How else do you go out and be authentic? I think we call that creating content, Stephanie. Are we?
No.
Okay, tell me.
I think your best bet is to borrow someone else's audience, like find a collaboration opportunity, find a partnership opportunity. And that's like A, immediate trust, and B, immediate audience. And you don't have to create content, right? Like creating content is expensive, and it's a shot in the dark, and it's a never ending cycle. So start there. That's the fastest way to start building an audience.
So walk us through that, Steph. Like how do you do, like, pick a company, like pick a fictional company and say, this is how you should walk through that by finding somebody else's audience.
Okay, so I'm going to make a new type of Band-Aid.
Okay.
Okay, it's made of titanium.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's made of titanium. And the reason titanium is really good for Band-Aids is because Band-Aids always fall off. And in long-term care, in acute care scenarios, it's really good. And it's also good for people who are going on big, long backpacking expeditions. They need their Band-Aids to be able to last for a really long time. So let's say that's the demographic I want to reach, is like extreme athletes who are doing, long hikes or long backpacking trips or going up Everest or whatever. So I'm going to go to Patagonia, and I'm going to say, hey, you speak to this audience. You sell clothing and soft goods and outdoor goods to the same audience I want to reach. So Patagonia, let's do an event together. Let's do a show where we teach about all sorts of new strategies or new products that are going to help, expeditionists in their journeys. And
Did you
we'll
say
do some sort of
exhibitionist?
showcase. Exhibitionists.
Oh, okay, all right.
Also expeditionists. We're gonna do a fair. We're gonna do a best of the outdoor world fair. And you and I, Patagonia, we're gonna sponsor this together. We're gonna teach all of these people about, f- wound care on the
Yeah, this is
wound care on
wilderness
Everest.
first aid. You go
I
to
don't
the
know,
wilderness
something
first
like
aid
that.
conference, right?
That's beneficial to Patagonia because they are providing value and they're engaging their audience. Now they're established, and so they don't need to find new people. What they need to do is give their people a reason to keep coming back and keep being loyal to their brand, right?
Also, I just realized
Oh boy,
why
I think I'm in delay
Stephanie
again.
joined our show. Anthony, did you actually tell her that we had an audience though? But
Yes, she thinks that we have.
Oh,
Hey,
got it.
That's not kind to the people that are actually our audience. Like that's we actually do have an audience and we love you guys. So we got to stop saying that because it's like everybody's watching right now is like, what am I, chopped liver?
So the drafting behind to find
Great
where
tactic.
that who question becomes critically important in the strategy, right, Stephanie? In this case, in our fictional case, you're saying Patagonia, but even like the Society for Wilderness Outdoors, first aid, right? Like people that do search and rescue for that. Like those are all communities that would be interested in your product and are probably already doing events and probably trying to provide value to their members. And you can come in and draft with them. Anthony, I'm still kind of on the fence. I still think Stephanie's idea is pretty good. I still think content can and should matter, though. What do you think?
Content's a problem, especially when you're starting, because now you have to get eyes on your content in order to get eyes on your product. And it feels like a second degree. It feels, but really, literally everything that you do is second degree. Like what Stephanie is saying is go get an event with Patagonia. That's a heavy lift. But I think what the takeaway here is, this really comes back down to two things. One is awareness. Are people aware of the thing that I'm building? And two, can I convert them to a customer? It's awareness and conversion. And the awareness is really expensive to get unless you hack your way into it. There is a way to start to grow a brand online without having to gain a massive amount of awareness, and that's Amazon. But Amazon's not for everybody.
I was going to say, how much do you love working with Amazon, Anthony?
It's really not for everybody. Like you really have to know what you're doing to launch.
How many of those gray hairs in your head are from Amazon, Anthony?
Yeah, quite a few. So I like we're not coming. I don't think we're coming up with really like what's the first step for founders? Like what's the first thing that you do outside of go get your first 10 customers? Like that's like whatever that fill in the blank, whatever you're doing, whatever you're selling, whatever consumer you're going after. And this is true for B2C and B2B businesses. You the founder, you go sell your first 10. And then you know what you do? You sell your next 10.
I'm gonna give you. I want to do this as a word case. I'm not leaving. I'm going to show you a product that a guy that goes to school at CU Denver, where I teach, is developing. It's a great product.
Chris?
It's called Peak Putty, and this is designed for climbers. And climbers, hand strength is critically important. Right. So this putty is about developing hand strength for climbers. I bought a couple. My son's a climber, so I bought it for him as a gift. But in this particular case, let's use Peak Putty as an example. Peak Putty is about climbers. This guy's in Denver, Colorado. He's starting with a very narrow niche. That should be a single climbing gym. or it should be a single place, a very popular climbing location. And he should pop open his trunk with a whole bunch of these and show up and say, would you like to try Peak Buddy? Would you like to try this? And would you like to use this, and try to sell this to the first few people and just get them, and then ask them personally to leave a review on their website. And then individually, so start with a very, very
It's hand-to-hand combat. And the problem with hand-to-hand combat is it feels yucky as a founder to do it. For most founders, it feels like you're asking for the sales. Like, please, it's like you're a pauper begging for money.
It
has that vibe to it.
I sort of assume we've done that already. Like, I think it's just like a given that you're gonna go and do that, and you're gonna get feedback from your first. You don't go out there asking for money. You go out there and say, "Can you try this? Like, I need your feedback. I need you to tell me blah blah blah." Right? Fine. But when we start talking about strategies at scale, for me, content is there to help your potential clients get to know you once they've found you or once you've found them. So I still argue that the very first step is to go and get in front of a big audience. And yes, maybe the leap to Patagonia in my example was a big leap, but there are plenty. Going to the climbing gyms, that's partnership, that's collaboration, that's getting in front of someone else's audience, right? That is the best next step. And you got to go to the people who serve the people that you, and by the way, that's cheaper than running a whole pile of ads to your content, right?
Way cheaper.
So,
Also, you could do things like go to conferences as an attendee and with a backpack full of your stuff, and you're going to get yelled at by the conference, right? But you can go do that. You can go where people are. Go to a football game. Go to a
sponsor the conference. Then you won't get yelled at and have your shit given away to all the attendees.
Sponsoring conferences
whatever.
can be really expensive. It can be really expensive,
right?
So if you have low budget, right? There's low budget ways in getting in front of people.
Yeah, but
sure.
if it's
there's a ladder. You start with the small events.
The local climbing club where it's like, hey, look, I'll buy you guys a beer. You know, that's
piggyback on. Yeah, you piggyback, right?
All right. So I think
you know where Pop Sockets started. You know what Pop Sockets are, right?
Yeah, they're a Boulder-based company.
But they started, their first place they sold was in the kite shop in Boulder. And
that makes sense.
And the owner just went in and just said, I'm gonna put my product here on consignment. You just give me you just help me launch it. That's what it looks like. That at one point was a $400 million company.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
So I think that we're starting to establish a framework here, which is, I think that what we've landed on is that you have to start with try to understand who your customers are. You have to create a brand that's a little bit different in the marketplace. You have to differentiate. And then I think that we're saying the same thing here, which is, but Stephanie, the principle of where are your people hanging out? If you know who you're serving, where can you go get in front of? At first, it might be 5, but then 10, and then 50, and then 50,000. How can you get in front of those people? And I think that at first, it might be physically. You might show up at the climbing gym. And then you might be able to get online, and you might be able to be a guest on a podcast, or you might be able to show up at a conference, or you might then be able to co-create some content with a brand that showcases your product if you can provide value to both of them. Did I assess where we are so far?
Sort of, but I think that there's a distinction here between just going and showing up at these places versus going to these places and saying, hey, can we do this together? Because then you're getting the trust, and you're getting, like, if you're just showing up at a conference and going, here, buy my stuff, that doesn't feel like trust, or that doesn't feel like. You need to find the people who are working with the people that you already, or selling to the people that you want to sell to, and find, even if it's a small step in, it's the collaboration and the partner saying, I trust this person, or this, let me bring this to my audience. So it's just a small distinction, but that is what rockets that experience much faster. Rockets much. I can't even talk today, but that's what makes the outcome much more successful, right? And so if you just show up at places, you're going to still kind of grow incrementally. And yes, it's going to be better than not showing up at those places, but you still got to find the people, and then you can give them all your content. Then you can, suck them in, but you still got to find the people.
This is just one aspect, and I want to ask the question, and Anthony, I'll pose it to you, but I'm going to come back to you, Stephanie, which is one of the things that we inherently think as startup founders is you can't go talk to Patagonia. Like, you can't make that
Why
call.
not?
Like, they would never return my call. Who am I to go do that? Both of you have sort of the same approach, which is like, what are they going to tell you? No, right? But that's sometimes it can be really difficult for a early stage founder.
I was talking to a founder just yesterday about this very thing. The truth is you're talking about at bats. How many at bats do you get to talk to partners like that, right? And there are some at bats that are singles, and there's some at bats that you're swinging for the fences. And you have to swing. You have to do both. You have to do the small stuff, and you have to try to mix metaphors in sports. You have to throw Hail Marys every once in a while as well. Like, you have to mix it up. You have to go and say, I'm going to try to talk to a Patagonia, and I'm going to go exhibit at the local fair. I'm going to go try to get a sponsor. I'm going to go try to get a big conference just to let me in because I'm going to do something for them. And I'm going to go to a meetup, or I'm going to go to a climbing gym and talk to them. Like, you do all of those things, and you do small steps and big steps. And at some point, you're going to get your pitch down, and you're going to hit somebody at the right time and the right moment where you're one of those Hail Mary passes are going to be caught.
Stephanie, what do you think?
We lost Stephanie again. She's on a big delay. Oh, bummer. Okay. Stephanie agrees.
I have one thing to say to that is that when you are approaching the idea of partnerships too formally, this is where you're going to say, oh, I can't talk to Patagonia. You know what? If you gave me a challenge and said, go and find a partnership in Patagonia, I could go and do that right now, because what I have learned is the ability to create relationships. And when I can create relationships as a founder, it's the number one thing that you can possibly do. So, how I would go and get into Patagonia, I would go and figure out, who can I talk to at Patagonia and some little foot in the door, and who do I have even if it's the guy in IT or whatever, who do I have a relationship with? Or is there a person who knows a person who knows a person? Like, I am relentless about finding relationships and creating relationships. And maybe there's somebody who works in Patagonia and posts a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. I'm going to go start, responding to their posts and having conversations with them and engaging with them. And then I get in and I get in and I get in and I get in. It is always possible to get in. I guarantee that. And as a founder, the best thing that you can do is figure out how to create those relationships.
I think it's very well said. Also, I think if I'm wrapping up this part of the conversation, it's you got to do stuff, and you got to be brave, and you got to be bold, and you got to do the little stuff, Anthony, and you got to do the big stuff, Stephanie. You've got to go do those things. If we're going and we're drafting off those audiences, which I think really in 2025 probably is your best bet. I don't think in 2025 starting by giving your money to Facebook is the right move. There was a time when
maybe your first $100, because it's going to perform better than any other $100.
Just keep spinning up new Facebook ad accounts.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the hack right there. In 2025, I think that it is being real and authentic is the key to B2C sales. If you show up without being real and authentic, you're just going to really struggle. And to your point, Anthony, there's always the Amazon route, but that's a very, very Faustian bargain to go in and start working directly with Amazon or another big platform, right?
Yeah.
But going and showing up and being real and authentic. And then I think, Stephanie, we said it perfectly, which is using where are your people hanging out? Where are they hanging out online? Where are they hanging out in person? And just be fearless in building relationships. I think that was very well said, Stephanie. Good job, Stephanie. Terrible job, Anthony. But I'm just kidding, Anthony. Great job too. All right. Shall we go to the speed round? Stephanie, how are we doing on delay? How are you? Okay. I'm going to do speed round with you, Anthony, but we will do, Stephanie, we'll come back and do founder fundamentals with you too. So let's do the speed round. All right, Anthony, discount first or go up market first in B2C sales?
Premium discount last.
Discount last. I like it. Push for selling more product immediately or push for building more relationships?
I think that's very dependent on the thing that you're selling.
Automated follow-up or personal touch? Should I build a CRM system that does?
And initially, it's all personal touch,
right.
And not in a creepy way.
Feature. I don't know. Feature focused or benefit focused?
Oh, features are
Come
the
on.
things. It's definitely benefit, but you have to have both.
Well,
You have to have both.
I was going to say, is there such thing as a product without?
Potato salad?
Yeah.
That's a great point.
I guarantee you
What
there
were
was
the
features
features
of
of the
potato
potato
salad.
salad?
There was features of that potato salad. What was
There
the
were-
benefit of it?
Raisins.
Raisins.
For both of you, Anthony, I'll start with you, then Stephanie. What did you learn from today's episode? I thought it was a very good conversation.
Entertainment.
Yeah, be entertaining. Anthony, go.
The obvious thing. This is your initial getting on track is not what you think it is. It is you selling, and it's you selling either partnerships, you selling directly to customers, and you going there. Like there is no. If you're focusing on scale at your first breath, you're very likely doing it wrong.
I like it. Stephanie, what did you learn?
Not much. I think just the reiteration that you're not necessarily selling your product right away. You're selling some experience or some feeling, some tribe, right? Like sell the tribe first. And what do I want to be a part of, right? What does it say about me to buy this product?
I think it's well said. I learned a lot, even if you guys did not. Deep dive recommendations to Sell as Human by Daniel Pink. Really all the Seth Godin stuff, the early Seth Godin stuff, which is, Tribe, I think, or is it Pink Elephant or something is one of the stuff, but Seth Godin. Purple Cow. Yeah. Really good books. I think more important now probably than even when he originally wrote those. Influence, Robert Cialdini. It's brilliant. Everybody should have that book on their desk. Building a Story Brand, actually really, really liked, by Donald Miller, Crafting Compelling B2C Messaging, and The Sales Acceleration Formula by Mark Roberg, Data-Driven Sales Strategies. We always plug where we can find our guests. It is your turn, Stephanie. Where can we find more information about you? Where can we connect? Where can we hire you to do all the things?
Stephanie's fine.
You can find me. You can find me at stephaniehays.biz. And I'm just going to add one more resource that I actually think is really valuable. And Chris Hayes, who's MSNBC reporter or anchor, he just wrote a book called The Siren's Call, and it's all about the attention economy. And I think that it's actually a really important book and a really, really good way to think about how to grab attention in different ways.
I like it. I've not read that one. I will put it on my Amazon list right now. Anthony, where can we find more information about you? What are you working on these days, Anthony?
It's this podcast all the time.
You live for
time.
this? This is all you've got?
Yes, my wife lets me out of the bedroom for 1.5 hours a day, and this is what I get to do. So I'm very grateful for you guys. You guys are my only friend until I actually am able to buy that little necklace. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This was a little bit of a longer episode. We enjoyed it. I hope you did too. If you want to connect, please visit us at howtofounder.com, where you can connect with us on LinkedIn or subscribe to our YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify channels. And just a reminder, we all feel like you're the pioneer of economic prosperity, and we're just grateful for being there along the way with you. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Chris and Steph, see you soon.